God says, sit down now. What's about to hit your life is massive before you read this. Sit down. No, seriously. Sit down. Because if heaven opened your eyes for even 5 seconds to see what is already moving toward you, your knees would give out under the weight of it. You thought you were waiting on life. Life has been waiting on you. You thought the silence meant rejection. You thought the delay meant defeat. You thought all those nights crying into a pillow nobody saw meant you had been abandoned. But while you were breaking down, God was building something so enormous behind the curtain that your current mind cannot even carry the full picture of it yet. And the reason God is telling you to sit down before hearing this is because the version of you listening right now is not emotionally prepared for what's coming. You've survived things that should have destroyed you. People watched you smile without realizing your soul was exhausted. You answered, "I'm okay," while internally fighting battles so violent they stole your sleep, your peace, your confidence, and sometimes even your desire to keep going. You've had days where your chest felt heavy for no reason. Days where you questioned your purpose. Days where you stared at the ceiling, wondering if your life would ever change. And still, somehow, you kept moving. That wasn't weakness. That was war. And heaven saw every second of it. Every hidden tear, every silent prayer, every moment you almost gave up but didn't. Every time you felt forgotten. Every betrayal that cracked your heart open. Every door that slammed in your face. Every humiliation. Every disappointment, every season where it felt like everybody else was winning while your life stood still. God saw it all, and now heaven is responding. You think this next chapter is small because it begins quietly, but earthquakes begin quietly too. A seed enters the ground looking insignificant until it splits the earth open. And what's about to happen in your life is going to split limitation open forever. Listen carefully. The pain did not come to destroy you. It came to introduce you to a version of yourself you would have never met otherwise. The pressure made you stronger. The loneliness made you wiser. The rejection made you unstoppable. The delay made your spirit deeper. The heartbreak forced you to stop depending on people who were never assigned to carry your destiny in the first place. And now you are stepping into a season where things begin to happen so fast, people around you will struggle to explain it. Opportunities, connections, restoration, healing, breakthroughs, doors opening at the exact right time, prayers answered in ways bigger than what you asked for. The same people who overlooked you will suddenly remember your name. The same rooms that rejected you will wonder how they missed your value. The same voices that doubted you will be forced to watch what God does through you. Not because you became arrogant, not because you became lucky, but because heaven has decided it is time. And when God decides it is time, nobody can stop what he releases. Nobody. Not your past, not your mistakes, not your fears, not the people who betrayed you. Not the opinions spoken over your life, not the years you think you wasted, nothing. Do you understand how dangerous it is when a person who almost gave up keeps going anyway? That kind of person carries a different spirit, a different fire, a different level of resilience. You are not ordinary anymore. Pain changed you. Survival changed you. The storms changed you. You used to panic over closed doors. Now you realize closed doors were protection. You used to chase validation. Now you understand silence is power. You used to beg people to stay. Now you realize everybody cannot go where God is taking you. Some people were assignments. Some were lessons. Some were distractions disguised as blessings. And some people left because your future intimidated the version of them committed to staying small. Let them go. Because where you are headed requires lighter baggage. What's coming into your life now cannot coexist with constant negativity, fake loyalty, hidden jealousy, and people committed to misunderstanding you. God is cleaning your environment because your future is too expensive for cheap energy. Read that again in your spirit. Your future is too expensive for cheap energy. You've spent enough years shrinking yourself so others could feel comfortable. Enough years apologizing for your ambition. Enough years doubting your worth. Enough years questioning whether your voice mattered. Enough years tolerating disrespect because you feared being alone. Enough years living beneath your potential because you forgot who you were. But something is waking up inside you now. Something powerful, something fearless, something heaven planted in you before you were even born. And once it fully awakens, your entire life changes. You are entering a season where clarity replaces confusion, strength replaces fear, discipline replaces chaos, vision replaces anxiety, peace replaces survival mode. You won't have to force things anymore. You won't have to beg for what belongs to you. You won't have to convince people to value you. What is truly aligned with your destiny will recognize you naturally, and what misses you was never meant for you. That relationship that broke you, it was not the end of your story. It was the end of your attachment to what could no longer grow with you. That disappointment that crushed your spirit, it was preparation. That delay that frustrated you, protection. That season where nothing made sense, construction. God was rebuilding your inner world while you complained about external results, because heaven cares more about who you become than what you temporarily possess. And the person you are becoming now is capable of carrying massive blessings without self-destruction. That matters because many people pray for elevation but lack the maturity to survive it. They ask for success but cannot handle pressure. They ask for influence but cannot handle criticism. They ask for abundance but still think from scarcity. But your hidden seasons developed endurance in you, and endurance creates stability. You're not being prepared for something small. You're being prepared for impact. There are people connected to your future healing who haven't even met you yet. There are lives waiting for your obedience. There are doors waiting for your arrival. There are rooms your name is already being discussed in. You think heaven kept you alive this long for nothing? No, you survived because your assignment is still active. And let's be honest, the enemy thought the last attack would finish you. He thought the betrayal would break your spirit permanently. He thought the depression would silence you. He thought the financial pressure would make you quit. He thought the exhaustion would stop your momentum. He thought the isolation would convince you that you were unloved. But you are still here, still breathing, still fighting, still believing, despite everything. And that alone is proof that God's hand is on your life. Listen carefully now. This next blessing is going to feel different because it won't arrive through desperation. It won't arrive through chasing. It won't arrive through manipulation. It's going to arrive through alignment, and alignment changes everything. When you finally become aligned with who God created you to be, the confusion breaks, the fear weakens, the chains fall, the masks disappear, and suddenly life starts moving with divine precision. People show up at the right time. Ideas begin flowing naturally. Strength returns to your mind. Your confidence becomes unshakable. Your intuition sharpens. Your spirit becomes calmer. You stop forcing what doesn't fit. You stop entertaining what drains you. You stop shrinking for people who refuse to grow. And for the first time in a long time, you feel peace. Real peace. Not temporary distraction. Not fake happiness. Peace that remains even during uncertainty. That kind of peace only comes from God. And once you experience it, you will never settle for chaos disguised as excitement again. Hear this deeply. You are closer than you think. Closer to the breakthrough. Closer to the answer. Closer to the healing. Closer to the open door. Closer to the transformation. Closer to the life you cried for in private. The reason the pressure became intense recently is because something massive is near. Pressure increases before breakthrough. Resistance increases before elevation. Darkness fights hardest before dawn. And some of you listening have been under unbelievable pressure lately, emotionally drained, mentally exhausted, spiritually tired. But God is saying, hold on, not much longer, because the same year that nearly broke you is about to become the year that introduces you to your greatest transformation. People are going to look at your life and call it luck because they never saw the nights you fought invisible battles alone. They never saw the prayers whispered through tears. They never saw the emotional weight you carried in silence. They never saw how many times you had to rebuild yourself from nothing. But heaven saw it all, and heaven rewards endurance. The comeback about to happen in your life will not look natural. It will look divine. The doors opening for you will confuse people who underestimated you. The favor coming toward you will not make logical sense. The restoration coming into your life will exceed what was stolen from you. And the peace you are about to experience will make your past suffering feel like another lifetime. This is not the season to doubt yourself. This is not the season to retreat. This is not the season to shrink. This is the season to rise, to speak boldly, to walk confidently, to trust God deeply, to stop apologizing for the greatness placed inside you. You have spent too much time acting smaller than your calling, too much time dimming your light, too much time afraid of becoming powerful because of how others might react. But hear me clearly, your light was never meant to stay hidden. Your voice was never meant to stay silent. Your purpose was never meant to stay buried beneath fear. God did not preserve you this long just for you to live average. No, there is something extraordinary attached to your existence, something world-changing, something powerful, and what's coming next is only the beginning. The doors are opening, the chains are breaking, the confusion is lifting, the fog is clearing, the heaviness is leaving, the season is changing, and once it changes fully, your life will never look the same again. You're about to laugh again. You're about to feel alive again. You're about to wake up excited again. You're about to rediscover parts of yourself trauma tried to kill. You're about to become stronger than the pain that once controlled you. You're about to experience blessings that make every delay make sense. And when it happens, remember this. Remember the nights you thought it was over. Remember the moments you almost quit. Remember the pain you survived. Remember how impossible things looked. Because one day very soon, the life that currently feels distant will become your reality, and the person reading this right now will barely recognize the version of themselves that once doubted whether things could ever change. God is not done with you, not even close. The story is still unfolding. The miracle is still moving. The breakthrough is still building. The healing is still happening. The elevation is still coming. And the reason heaven told you to sit down before hearing this is because what's about to hit your life is massive. Massive peace, massive favor, massive restoration, massive opportunity, massive transformation, massive joy, massive purpose, massive elevation. Everything that tried to bury you is about to become the ground you rise from. Every tear carried purpose. Every battle carried instruction. Every delay carried wisdom. Every disappointment carried redirection. Nothing was wasted. Nothing. God knew exactly what He was doing the entire time, even when you couldn't see it, even when you questioned it, even when you cried over things that later turned out to be blessings in disguise. You were never abandoned. You were being prepared. Prepared for strength. Prepared for wisdom. Prepared for impact. Prepared for the weight of the life coming toward you now. Because the truth is, if God had released these blessings earlier, the old version of you would have sabotaged them. But now you think differently. Now you move differently. Now you discern differently. Now you value peace differently. Now you understand your worth differently. Now you recognize fake energy faster. Now you refuse to settle for less than what aligns with your spirit. Growth changed you. Pain educated you. Survival refined you. And the person standing after all that suffering is no longer fragile. You are powerful now, not because life was easy, but because it wasn't, and heaven trusts people who remain standing after storms. That's why your next season carries unusual favor, because your endurance qualified you for it. The people around you may not understand the shift happening in your life, That's okay. Not everybody is supposed to understand your transformation. Some people only knew the wounded version of you, the insecure version, the struggling version, the exhausted version, but they are about to meet somebody different, focused, disciplined, confident, spiritually stronger, emotionally wiser, mentally sharper. You are becoming the person your younger self desperately needed, and that is powerful. Do not fear this next chapter. Walk into it boldly. Stop replaying old pain. Stop reopening closed wounds. Stop giving energy to what God already removed. You cannot carry your future while dragging dead weight from your past. It's time to release it. Release the guilt. Release the regret. Release the bitterness. Release the fear. Release the need for approval. Release the people who only love you when you are struggling. Release the mindset that says you are unworthy of greatness. You are worthy because God created you intentionally. There is purpose in your existence, purpose in your voice, purpose in your struggle, purpose in your survival. And the same God who carried you through your darkest nights is about to reveal why you had to survive them in the first place. This next level of your life will require courage, because blessings change people. Growth changes environments. Elevation exposes hidden jealousy. Success reveals true intentions. But don't be intimidated by that. God will send the right people, the right support, the right opportunities, the right alignment. You won't have to force divine connections. You'll recognize them by the peace they bring, because what comes from God carries peace, not confusion. And what's approaching your life now carries peace, deep peace, the kind that settles your spirit after years of emotional warfare, the kind that makes you stop overthinking, the kind that allows you to sleep without fear, the kind that reminds you that you are finally safe. Can you imagine that? Finally safe, after all the chaos, after all the heartbreak, after all the betrayal, after all the disappointment, safe, loved, protected, guided, chosen. That is where your life is heading. And when it arrives fully, you will realize something incredible. You were never losing. You were learning. You were never forgotten. You were being positioned. You were never buried. You were planted, and planted people rise. That is why your spirit refused to die even when life became unbearable, because something inside you knew this was not the end. Something inside you knew greater days were coming. Something inside you knew heaven still had plans for your life. And that inner knowing was right. Very right. The shift has already started. The energy has already changed. The breakthrough has already begun, moving toward you. You can feel it. That strange pull in your spirit. That feeling that something is about to change. That deep knowing that your current reality cannot be your final destination. That is not imagination. That is confirmation. God is moving right now, behind the scenes, aligning people, opening doors, removing obstacles, preparing opportunities, positioning blessings, healing your heart, strengthening your mind, building your future piece by piece. And one day soon, everything will suddenly make sense. The delays, the pain, the confusion, the waiting, the loneliness, the closed doors, the tears, the battles, all of it, because you will finally see what God was protecting you from and what He was preparing you for. Until then, keep moving, keep believing, keep praying, keep trusting, keep growing, keep becoming, because what's about to hit your life is massive, and this time, nothing will stop it. God delayed certain things because the old version of you was not ready to carry the blessing. That delay frustrated you. It confused you. There were nights you questioned yourself, questioned your worth, and even questioned whether your prayers were being heard at all. You watched other people receive opportunities while you stood still. You watched doors open for others while yours remained closed. You wondered why life felt so slow when your heart was ready to move forward. But what you called delay, God called preparation, because some blessings are too heavy for an unprepared spirit. You wanted the opportunity, but you were still doubting yourself. You wanted success, but your mindset was still tied to fear. You wanted elevation, but you were still emotionally attached to people who would have destroyed your future. You wanted the next level, but the old version of you still needed healing, wisdom, discipline, and growth. God was not punishing you by making you wait. He was protecting you from receiving something prematurely and losing it because you were not ready to sustain it. A blessing without maturity becomes a burden. That is why God allowed certain seasons of isolation. He needed to separate you from distractions. He needed to show you who was truly for you and who was only connected to your convenience. He needed to break toxic patterns, unhealthy attachments, and limiting beliefs that would have followed you into your future and corrupted the very thing you prayed for. The old version of you relied too much on people. The old version of you tolerated disrespect. The old version of you chased validation from places that could never truly value you. But through pain, disappointment, silence, and struggle, something inside you began to change. You became stronger, wiser, more discerning, more patient, more aware of your worth. The delay developed your character. It taught you how to survive pressure without falling apart. It taught you how to trust God even when nothing made sense. It taught you endurance, and endurance creates stability. Now when the blessing arrives, you will not destroy it through insecurity, fear, or emotional immaturity. You will carry it with wisdom. You will protect it with discipline. You will appreciate it differently because you understand what it took to become the person capable of receiving it. That is why your journey could not happen overnight. God was more focused on transforming you than rushing the process. Because the truth is, if certain doors had opened earlier, the old version of you would have walked into them with the wrong mindset, the wrong habits, and the wrong people. And what was meant to elevate you could have broken you instead. But now you are different. You have been refined by pressure, built by struggle, strengthened by survival. Every betrayal, heartbreak, and struggle built the strength you needed for your next level. At the time, it felt unfair. You gave your loyalty and got disappointment in return. You trusted people who promised they would stay, only to watch them walk away when life became difficult. You loved deeply, cared genuinely, and sacrificed quietly, yet somehow you were the one left carrying the pain. There were moments when the betrayal cut so deeply that it changed the way you looked at people forever. But what broke your heart also opened your eyes. The betrayal taught you discernment. It taught you that not everybody who smiles at you supports you. Not everybody who stands beside you is assigned to go with you. Some people enter your life to teach lessons, not to stay permanently. And painful as it was, those experiences forced you to become wiser about who deserves access to your energy, your trust, and your future. The heartbreak changed you too. It shattered illusions. It forced you to stop building your identity around being chosen by other people. It made you realize your worth cannot depend on whether someone stays or leaves. Before the heartbreak, you may have ignored red flags, settled for less, or tolerated things that damaged your spirit because you feared losing people. But after surviving that pain, something inside you awakened. You stopped begging for love. You stopped chasing validation. You stopped shrinking yourself to fit into places that could never truly appreciate who you are. And the struggles, those silent battles nobody knew about, they built a level of resilience inside you that comfort never could. The financial pressure taught you creativity and endurance. The lonely seasons taught you how to stand on your own. The disappointments taught you patience. The failures taught you humility. The closed doors taught you trust. Every difficult season was shaping your mentality for the next level of your life. Because the truth is, elevation requires strength. The next chapter of your life demands a version of you that can handle pressure without collapsing, criticism without quitting, and success without losing yourself. And that kind of strength is not built in comfort. It is built through survival. You may have cried during the process. You may have questioned God. You may have wondered why so much pain had to enter your life. But now you can look back and realize every battle was preparing you for something greater than your current understanding. The old version of you was too fragile for where you were going. But now you have scars that became wisdom. You have pain that became power. You have wounds that became lessons. And the person standing today is no longer the same person who entered those storms. You are stronger now, smarter now, more focused now, more aware now, more spiritually grounded now. Nothing you survived was wasted. Every betrayal revealed truth. Every heartbreak created growth. Every struggle developed endurance, and all of it combined to build the strength you will need to carry the blessings, opportunities, responsibilities, and purpose waiting for you at your next level. One day, you will stop asking why it happened and start thanking God for who it helped you become.